Your company just announced that it's conducting an internal investigation. Ouch. Rough times ahead, a real hassle, and expensive too, today on Zippy Point.
Quick Zips by Zippy Point.
Quick and dirty. I'm Brock Romanek, and I'm a big fan of yous. So not that all internal investigations involve accounting fraud, only a fraction of them do, but I did find this guest blog by J.W. Verrett to be a good reminder that most internal investigations involve some sort of story, which means that internal investigations are somewhat interesting if you're not involved. JW notes that a classic tool used by forensic accountants to guide investigations is the fraud triangle. Three factors that are nearly universal in frauds: pressure, opportunity, and rationalization. When you're involved in an internal investigation, doing the grunt work for outside counsel who's billing you by the hour, it's a major pain, thankless work, time-consuming, and seemingly never-ending. So one, why conduct an internal investigation in the first place? In many cases, companies commence them voluntarily to find out exactly what happened, to get ahead of possible government investigations, outside third-party lawsuits, in a way that they can control the narrative somewhat so that they can take steps to minimize the damages and to perhaps have the optics that a culture change perhaps is underway if that is indeed necessary at your company. So in most cases, companies are not forced to conduct an internal investigation. They choose to do so voluntarily. Two, who is the client? So typically an outside law firm is hired to conduct the internal investigation. If accounting issues are at stake, a forensic accounting firm may be hired too. Perhaps some other investigators are brought on board. As this Deckard Guide to Internal Investigations notes, the client can be the company itself, but it's often the board of directors or a subgroup of the board, a board committee, such as the audit committee, which typically is the committee that oversees the investigations. So if the company is the client, the company will request that outside counsel represent both the entity and those employees of the entity whose interests are not divergent. If there's even the slightest potential for the company's interests diverging from those of officers or other individuals at the companies, those persons are told to hire their own counsel. Of course, this makes a mess even messier one, starts to become a divergence of interest between the people that work for the company and the company itself, but it needs to be done. And then sometimes these individuals that have to hire their own counsel can hire the same counsel and represented jointly by pool counsel, if that seems appropriate. Three, legal holds and more. As in-house counsel, you'll be playing lapdog, perhaps for outside counsel, the forensic accounting firm, to ensure that documents aren't destroyed, the legal holds, to ensure everything goes as smoothly as possible. It's a lot of meetings, a lot of hand-holding, a lot of compliance reminders. It's a lot of a lot. Four, the internal investigation report. Just how big are they? They can be big, a humdinger. This one from 2007 involving Computer Associates is nearly 400 pages long. Not exactly a page turner. Like most internal investigation reports, it's a blow-by-blow description of all the circumstances, all the tiny details that surrounded that involved the situation that led to the report. You know, it's really to cover the company's, it's a CYA kind of thing. But they're only big if they need to be reduced to writing. Like the Deckard Guide notes, internal investigation findings don't necessarily need to be reduced to a writing. They might be able to be delivered orally to preserve the attorney-client privilege. They might be provided orally at the interim stages to provide interim findings, ensuring that there are no inconsistencies in the report, making sure that the final report is really final and it makes sense if you are producing a written report. And of course, not producing a writing at every turn or even in the end will cut down on the cost of the whole thing. But if the situation is this huge public deal, something that needs to be fed to a government agency that because they're likely to investigate and need to cooperate with the agency, you need to go whole hog and cough out a report, and that likely is going to be a mammoth document. So I'm going to leave a full-blown treatment of the exciting times of the internal investigation to another Vid-Guide, a link to which is below. This is just a teaser for those in-house lawyers who haven't had the pleasure before of going through this process. So let me know what you think.